as with any major Magic the Gathering release, it's always interesting to see what our peers, regular fans like you and I, are spending their hard-earned money on. And while no, we can't go door to door across the country and knock on every door of every local game store and say, hey, what are your customers buying? We can do what we do here at Hometown TCG and analyze every single sold listing of sealed product on popular online marketplace TCG Player and break down on a set-by-set basis how fans like you and I are spending our money. So I want to do that today with Innistrad Remastered, talk about products that I think are flowing really well, that are flowing, not so well, and then I want to go a step further. I want to compare this to previous remastered releases. That's right, we got data from Ravnica Remastered, Dominaria Remastered, it's going to be wild. I want to take a look at how this set compares and talk about with the recent breaking news for Innistrad Remasters, or rumor news. Let's call it rumor news because that's more fun and people are gonna get mad at me in the comment section. The rumor news, what it means for the long-term success and or failure of this product. So buckle up, and if you like conversations like this, make sure you hit the sub button down below, because for a small channel like mine, it helps more than you can possibly imagine. All right, let's dive in. I think it's Covert Go Blue, the Magic the Gathering arena player, one of the massive YouTube streamer that always says, let's dive in, let the nonsense begin. And I just had a weird flashback of saying, let's dive in. But I really meant it, because without further ado, I want to head over to cardboardfinance.com and take a look at Innistrad Remastered. I want to see how the set's performing overall, and if you like what we do here, collecting every single sold listing of sealed products so we can have really cool legacy data on the platform to look back at that would have otherwise been lost to the annals of history, you can click the join button, and what that does is it's $5 a month, you become a channel member, and you get access to content early, discounts on box opens to do them, and it helps, support this server, so I don't pay for all the costs out of my pocket. Because of this, we're able to see how Dominaria Remastered did over its entire lifespan on the platform. Stuff like this is really cool and would have otherwise been lost, so I'm really proud of this project. But on to Innistrad Remastered. It's time to talk about the here and now and the important things with the latest release. And as we saw, Innistrad Remastered is doing well, it's doing fine. When you compare the number of boxes sold to a regular Magic release, you will see that it is, well, it's wildly underwhelming. And while the community hasn't quite spent $1 million on this product yet, these sales are driven by the Play Booster box. And this makes a ton of sense to me. When you think about a set like Innistrad Remastered, it does one of two things extremely well. In fact, when you think about modern remastered sets, they do one of two things really well. They offer you a really cool in-depth play experience where you can open the box, crack it, and then get going. And here, ooh, live, I'm going to move my face out of the way. You can crack the box and you can get going. But what this does show is that, hey, people want these packs for multiple reasons. The fact that this is leading the charge means that we as fans don't just want how crazy of a pull can we get, how much serialization can we get our hands on. There is interest in playing this game and cracking the cards in the Innistrad Remastered themed. And in fact, the Play Booster box has done pretty much what we expect a Play Booster box to do on release. And I know, I'm going to get this out of the way right now. I know that while we're recording this video, and if you're watching in the future, maybe the times aren't like this anymore, but we're in a time where TCG products, especially like Magic and Pokemon and the big ones, are coming out and going crazy. Releases are hard to come by, prices are going through the roof, companies have to announce wild numbers of reprints, but in a normal real world scenario, we expect the standard box, the play edition of a box, the box that is just meant to be draftable, limited playable, and pack crackable, not, collector chase or anything like that, to slowly go down in price. And we see some of that with the average cost of a box on TCG Player over the course of the release. Now, the same can't really be said for the Play Booster box, or the Collector Booster box. This thing has come out and has pumped. As we see, the Collector Booster box is still coveted. While it's not the most sold product, there are enough of them sold to warrant speculation that the community does seem to like this kind of chase. And while we see the numbers are pretty low, if we were to go to the release comparison tab, take Innistrad Remastered, and then let's take, let's go the more recent one, Ravnica Remastered, and do the pre-release configuration, we will see that while Innistrad Remastered is slow, it is wildly ahead. And here, you know what, my big old head is just still too big, so we're going to go up in the corner over here. It is still wildly ahead of something like Ravnica Remastered. We have a bad taste in our mouth for remastered sets, and even through all that, we are performing admirably compared to the last remastered set. This thing came out, and man oh man, was it a flop to start one of the better years of Magic's history. And 2024 started off with a whimper, far more than a bang. But we teased this at the beginning. We can go back and take a look at Dominaria Remastered, one of the early remastered sets, and talk about, hey, when this remastered set thing was still hype, when we were coming off the back of Time Story Remastered, how do we compare? Well, we lived in a different ecosystem. We didn't have play booster boxes, we had draft booster boxes, but as we see, the numbers are, well, they're eerily similar. With Innistrad Remastered still coming up to official release, I expect these things to inch closer and closer as time goes on. And we say all that to say this: Innistrad Remastered is a set that seems to be performing fairly well, and it is driven by the most purchased product on the platform being the Play Booster Box. That, to me, is a big deal. When the Play Booster Box is your leader, it's the product that people are most after, or the Commander deck is the product that people are most after, I believe we live in an ecosystem where people are playing Magic the Gathering with the set. And yeah, there are other factors to it. It is far more accessible from a price standpoint, though. In my opinion, I would like to see this just at a normal Magic the Gathering price. I don't want to see the exclusive premium set price tied to an all reprint for the limited play experience set. I think that's mildly ridiculous, but it does show that we want to get in on this set where we can, and we do, value cracking those packs and playing with those cards. To an extent. There, of course, are other outside factors. But when we take a look, at TCG players, if we were to buy the set right now, we talk about kind of what people are buying, what numbers in which they're buying, and you break down some of the information on TCG player, you will see that while the set is selling fairly well, when you sort by best match, right, we got play boosters, we got collector boosters in pre-sale. Again, this is all pre-sale information. There's just not an absolute ton of gas going on here. There's some cool stuff, there's some cool treatments, some cool reprints, but there's not, an absolute amount of gas. Edgar Markov, sure, amazing reprint. Blinging out your Yawgmoth Modern deck with Young Wolves, cool. It's an idea, and I love it. It's something I would definitely do. But all in all, this set seems to be a, higher end remastered set as we look at, the comparison to Ravnica Remastered and Dominaria Remastered, but still so. I don't expect much from this product in the short term. Now, what does that mean for the long term? How is this product going to be, performing in the long term? If you were to buy it and either hold on to it sealed to add to your sealed collection, what would it mean for the long term? I think that the collector booster boxes are going to be, well, let's just call it rather favorable. And I think it's hard to discourage that too much as someone who maybe doesn't always love the collector booster box for things, and I know I collect a ton of them. They're behind me here on the shelf, and in fact, we'll go full frame real quick just to see, I do love collecting sealed product. I love having it. I love seeing it on my shelf. It makes me happy to look at. Every once in a while, I crack one for fun. I enjoy this stuff. I love this game, and I love, just these experiences. Even with that being the case, I don't know if we're going to see this level of hype around this product. Like Ravnica Remastered, as we saw, sold way worse on release, but me, oh my, that collector booster box has been something special over time when you take a look at percentage gain. Now, Ravnica or Innistrad Remastered already starting off ahead of the game at a higher price to begin with, but we'll see what that means in the long term with only one serialized card, no fetch lands, and kind of Innistrad's a great plane. I am not dunking on Innistrad, I know. As soon as you get into which plane is better, you're gonna get a bunch of fighting in the comment section. I'm not dunking on it, but man, Ravnica's pretty hard to beat. All in all, it's interesting to see that we are definitely spending our money on the Play Booster Box. And I would have thought, with all the news, and the news being the Play Booster Box, is out of print. There isn't more allocation. There isn't more coming. What we have is what we have, that the prices would have seen a greater spike and maybe some more hype. But I think it just goes to show these remastered sets are truly what I believe them to be. They're fan service for those who really want that the most magical of Magic experience. Universes Beyond's not for you. You want to live in a bit of that nostalgia. You want to play with these Magic cards and sit down with your friends. It offers that experience. If you're looking for hardcore value from a set, maximizing every single dollar, getting your sealed product collection going, investing, building a set collection, whatever it might be, these sets generally don't speak to that kind of audience. And it just goes to show Magic the Gathering is this massively wide pie, this pizza that can be attacked and eaten from so many different angles, and there's so many different people that enjoy our hobby in so many different ways that when a product like this comes out and doesn't satiate a couple of those areas, we do see, a change in the price of the number of boxes sold of the product on, something like TCG Player. And I will go to say just the last thing I'll break down is because everyone's going to say, well, it's expensive, so that's why nobody's buying it. And that 100% is part of the reason. But I want to make sure everyone knows it's not the only reason. Modern Horizons 3 was a wildly expensive set. It was a set that had powerful cards, it had new mechanics, it had collectibles, it had things that just more people want to get on. It had a commander subset, and it sold incredibly. It was the best-selling set of 2024, and it was crazy expensive. Those two things can coincide if you have a banger of a product. All in all, Innistrad Remastered it's for me. It really feels like for me. It feels like it's for like the nostalgia fan, the most magical of the magic time of the year, where I'm not on a plane living my magic life at a quarter mile at a time, or wearing detective hats, or heck in Bikini Bottom getting bossed around by Mr. Krabs, right? This is just magic at its most magical, and I think it's really for me. But it just goes to show, like, there's a reason Wizards has all these other subsets of their company, because well, a lot of other people like the other stuff. Thanks so much for watching. I'm going to put a video down over here. If you like this channel, make sure you check this one out. I think you'll like it. And if you haven't subbed yet, obviously we talked about doing that earlier. Like the video. The like button never gets any love from me. I never tell anyone to like the video. Thanks so much for hanging out. Until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh, and, well, we'll see you around. Okay.